So I've made a couple videos on the channel now at this point where I actually talk about who I think the West Coast Eagles should do and who they should take with the first overall pick in the 2025 AFL draft. Again, in these videos, I've kind of hinted at some players I think they could, maybe take at pick 2 as well. Again, as we know, the Eagles are supposed to be getting pick 2 out of the Oscar Allen compensation pick. Again, he is expected to leave, and with the reported contract that he's going to be getting, West Coast is supposed to be getting pick 2. So again, I have talked a little bit on who they should take at pick 2, but mostly who they should take at pick 1. But again, with AFL rumors continuing to circle and trade rumors, trade discussion, all of the above continuing now to come out as the season is of course about to end, we are hearing more and more that the West Coast Eagles are actually going to try and acquire more first round picks to bring in more, younger players and kind of, I wouldn't say copy, but do a very similar thing to the blueprint that I think Richmond have now set in stone when they decide to take 297 different blokes in the first round in the 2024 AFL draft. Again, for those of you who haven't seen, I recently made a video actually talking about exactly this. Again, in the video, I talked about how there are rumors that West Coast could be trading that pick 2 Oscar Allen compensation pick to the Gold Coast Suns, where they would be bringing in like 3 first round picks that the Suns do have, which is like pick 8, 12, and pick 18. Again, will that happen? I'm not too sure, but we're definitely starting to see some fire actually come out of this trade rumor, and there have been so many rumors online that they are just trying to bring in more first round picks. So I thought in today's video, we're going to talk about who I think the West Coast Eagles should of course select if they do keep the second overall pick, but of course actually talk about who I think the Eagles should select if they do find access to gain more first round picks, which we know they are desperately trying to do. Again, there are more reasons why they're trying to do this. Again, this is actually finally the year for them where they're going to have a bunch of players retire. They're finally moving on from a lot of those premiership players that just haven't been good over the last couple of years. Again, he's definitely been good, but Jeremy McGovern is one of them. Dom Sheeds missed the whole year with an ACL. There's going to be more and more, I think, a couple more retirements come out here and there. Players like Liam Ryan might explore his trade opportunities again. Again, they're going to have lift spots to, of course, fill in. So if they do decide to keep pick 2, there's a bunch of different guys I think they can look to take here. Again, first and foremost, you've got Willem Dersma. If we're going off the facts that the media believes that the Eagles are going to take Cooper Duff-Tyler at pick 1, Willem Dersma is, of course, the next best available player. He's a 191 centimeter inside midfield player who can play wing, he can play halfback. He's a very versatile guy, and he, in my opinion, is actually light years above his brothers who were also high picks. Again, his brother Zane Dersma, I believe, was pick 4 just a couple of years ago, while Willem, I think he actually is way better. Again, Zane Dersma could only play the high half forward position and has a lot of issues with his strength and marking ability when it comes to being contested and all that type of stuff. But Willem's a little bit different. He doesn't really need to rely on the contested game. He's much more of an outside player, in my opinion. Again, he's a very good two-way runner, and because of his height, he can actually take a really good mark. Again, he's kind of got that Zane Dersma flexibility and the hops, I want to say. Again, if one of the good things Zane Dersma has shown in his career is he's got good hops, Willem Dersma can basically do all of that and more. Again, he can actually play as a halfback as well. He's got good run and dash off the halfback line. He's even taken the kick-ins, I think, for Vic Country. He's done a little bit of, and he's actually a really accurate kick. He's a very good playmaker when it does come to his kicking. Again, I just overall love his game as a wing and a halfback. I've been a little bit vocal on the channel, so I don't know how he's going to go as a midfielder though, because I think he'll be like his brothers, where he's not going to be that good of a contested player, in my opinion, just because of his light frame and how his body is built. I don't think he's going to be that good contested wise, so that is his knock. and that's why I don't know if he will be an inside midfielder in the game. But considering the Eagles basically need everything under the sun, and he's the best available product, I would 100% look to draft him. But again, there are some other guys you can look at with pick 2. I mean, Josh Lindsay has really flown up the ranks as a Geelong Falcons product. Again, he's the best halfback in the draft. And there is rumours he has the ability to, of course, move up in the midfield. And I say rumours because he hasn't shown much of it just yet. But the reality is that sometimes AFL players that can start off as a halfback and move into the midfield as their career goes. Again, we've seen Jack Sinclair do it. We've seen a couple players do it. He could very well be one. Again, he's actually compared to a bit of Errol Goulden with how he can actually move up the ground as a halfback, which is really interesting. And he's got the kicking ability of Errol Goulden too. Very, very solid. He's overall just a really good playmaker as well. His defensive ability is okay. And he's not short. He's like 183 centimeters, which is probably the perfect height, I think, for a halfback who he'll probably do a lot of the kick-in duties if he was selected by the Eagles as well, which I think they need another one of them. Again, they definitely need some playmaking off halfback and just overall a really talented player down there. So he's definitely an option. And I think those are the two guys they'll really look at with pick 2. But again, if they do decide to trade this pick and bring in like a pick 8, pick 12, and pick 18, there are players that will be around that mark. Again, I'm not too sure if he'll still be available, but a Sam Grill, who's a really great burst from the stoppage midfield player that the Tigers are actually looking at. Again, he's compared to Max Holmes because of his two-way running in there as well. His burst from stoppage is absolutely elite. Very quick, very fast, shifty player too, who's not too tall to be in the midfield. And again, I think a lot of the last year's drafted a lot of those taller midfielders, so having a bit of a, slight shorter one is going to be very good. Again, he could be available, even though the Tigers are very much looking at him though. There's also Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves, who is a high half forward who can play wing. In fact, he's actually started to play a lot more wing with his time with the Dandenong Stingrays. Now, the thing about him is that when he's absolutely on, he could be the best player in the whole entire draft. But unfortunately, he has some games where he just completely goes missing. Again, some people are saying he will be a high draft pick just because of, as time goes, the more experience gets into him, maybe he will start to be more of a consistent player. And if you get the more consistency out of him than not, then he's going to be one of the best players in the draft. So again, he's got the capability. He literally had a 4-goal game not so long ago, but then like the next week he had like 3 touches. So that's a very scary one when you do look at it. It's tough to know how he's overall going to be as a player. Again, there are some taller midfielders in this draft too that they may potentially look at. Again, a Dyson Sharpe, who some people believe could still be one of the best players in the draft, kind of compared to Patrick Dangerfield. He's actually a pretty good burst from the stoppage player as well, and he's quite a little bit taller at 187 centimeters, so they might be looking at that. Again, there's Ruckman available if they don't take Duff Tyler at 1. Louis Emmett is supposed to be a pretty promising guy as well. Again, a little bit shorter for a Ruckman at only 198 centimeters, which I think he might have grown a bit since then, but he can actually get a fair bit of disposals and be like an extra midfielder. There's also Cody Curtin, who's related to Daniel Curtin in the league. Again, I think he's from WA, and he's a really tall key forward who can move up the ground. Again, very similar to his brother, who can kind of play absolutely anywhere. He's a little bit similar, but except he actually grew really, really tall. So I don't know how he's going to go on the AFL. And I mean, if he can continue to run around like as a 197 centimeter player or something like that, he'll be genuinely a unicorn. Again, Fred Rodriguez is also out of WA, who's a really fast inside midfielder, who, again, I think the Tigers may look at. They're probably going to be looking for that quicker, shorter inside midfielder, so that is absolutely great for them as well, that he's a WA product. So I think a lot of positives for them as well, as there actually is a lot of WA players around these picks, so that could be another reason they look to move down and, trade pick 2 for like the 3 first-round picks out from Gold Coast, is that you can probably get like a best available, like a Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves. And then with the other 2 pick, you might look at, you know, a Cody Curtin or a freaking Fred Rodriguez, whoever it may be. Maybe another WA product. So a lot of really interesting things going on for the Eagles here. A lot of players they could maybe definitely look at as well. Again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Who do you guys think the West Coast Eagles should target? All of the above. Again, what do you think they should do? Again, I'd very much like to know all your thoughts and opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content, AFL news, sports related content in general, my gaming/movie channel, which will be down below, and my Instagram. Go check all of them out. But yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.